Today we're talking about new investments and studies into women's health. From weight loss to menopause, there are new approaches to staying on top of our health and becoming the very best version of ourselves. Here to talk more about it and her wellness newsletter, which is free by the way, is Dr. Jen Ashton. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me back at the ABC family.
Love it, love it. Now, Jen, you are double board certified in obesity medicine, women's health as well. You also have a degree in nutrition, but it seems like everybody's talking about either menopause or these weight loss drugs. So what's next on the frontier of drugs like Ozempic, those GLP-1s?
Well, first, you're 100% correct. Both are having a moment. I think that's largely a good thing because when you think about it, both menopause and obesity or the condition of overweight have unfortunately been stigmatized, not only in society, but also in the field of medicine and health for way too long. So if you uncouple it, when you look at obesity medicine, people think these GLP-1s are so new because maybe we've just been hearing about them for the last couple of years, but the first one was actually FDA approved to help manage type 2 diabetes 20 years ago. So we have a massive amount of clinical data. We have a good track record on their safety and efficacy. They're not for everyone. However, I think the next wave and what you're going to start seeing published data in the literature, but also entering into our clinical practice is these drugs as prevention even, because we know that starting around midlife, even at the age of 40, people start to gain weight, and almost every bad health outcome as we age is associated with gaining too much weight. So I think you're going to start seeing prevention protocols, and then I think you're going to start to see more microdosing, more maintenance protocols. So when people reach their goal weight, what do you do? And how do you manage that? Will you take a shot once a month instead of once a week? And I think that's already happening in clinical practice, but you're going to start seeing some formal guidelines about that.
On the nutrition front, always about the protein. It feels like you can never get enough. You do the shakes, you do the bars, you try to eat a little extra chicken breast, but can you have too much? And what are your tips on how we can make sure we're meeting our goals there?
So if you look at the three macronutrients, protein, fat, and carbs, absolutely protein is having the moment as it's, macronutrient du jour, maybe even of the decade. It is the most important, especially for women, but for everyone as they age. It's not one size fits all. There's a formula. So if you get out a pencil, you can also just look on my Instagram. I'll send you this formula if you forget it. But you want to take your weight in pounds, divide that by 2.2, and then multiply that by 1.6. That's the number of grams you should be getting every day in protein. Your question, can you get too much? Yes. If you're trying to lose weight, you have to watch the fat and the carbs because you don't just want to eat more protein and then everything will go up.
Well, again, I want to make sure we get a plug in there for your wellness newsletter, which is free. We've been talking about women's health over here because I can't have Dr. Ashton in the studio without asking. So menopause, right?
Yeah.
This is something that we don't talk about a ton, but when is it too early?
Believe it or not, I want everyone to be careful what they have in their hand because they might drop it, but perimenopause can start for many women in their 30s because those symptoms can start 10 years before menopause. We talk a lot about this in my, as you said, free newsletter. It's Join Agenda, like Jennifer, joinagenda.com. But people are curious. And by the way, not just women, but men want to know about menopause also because most men have a woman that they care about. So those symptoms can start in a woman's 30s and they last longer for Black women, some of those symptoms, and they are frequently, these symptoms, dismissed, unfortunately, even by gynecologists and women's health experts because we say, no, you're too young. But that's the reality. So information is everything.
Dr. Ashton, we so appreciate you being here.